Let's see. And waiting for this to go live. I'm not seeing it pop up yet as live, but again, sometimes it's delayed. Let's see. Just gonna refresh. Oh, wait. There we go. I see live. Yeah, it looks like we are live. Okay, guys, we are ready to rock. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is show number 318. Your favorite place Sunday nights to just kick back, relax, and, listen to some Xbox-focused content and more from around the game industry. I'm Invader, your host for the evening, and, hey, naturally, as per usual, each episode, I am just really excited to be here with all of you for the night. For this one, we will be delving into the newly announced Xbox Game Pass Standard, detailing what it offers, and just our overall thoughts on the new tier. What else? Well, lots of talk surrounding Modern Warfare 3, and more coming to Xbox Game Pass soon. I mean, we had already touched on some rumored titles, but it looks like there's more. Very interesting. So will there be an pending implosion or explosion of games dropping into Game Pass? Well, we will get into that very, very soon. First, though, let me introduce my cohorts for the evening, my astounding panel. Starting off with, who do we got here? Crusader, bud, what's going on?
Nothing much. I have been on a 3D platforming kick. I beat several Ratchet and Clanks in the past couple weeks, and I beat the re-release of Sly Cooper on they'd re-released it on PS5. I beat the fourth Sly Cooper, which I never touched. I'm playing Jak 2 right now because I've only ever played the first Jak and Daxter game, and now I'm playing the second one. Much to Dots' much great excitement. I'm basically next week. They're re-releasing the PSP Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation, which has me super excited. Size Matters was the second best-selling Ratchet and Clank of all time because it was a launch title for the PSP. It was only beaten out by the one that corresponded with the movie, the remake of the first game that came out.
Oh, yeah.
PS4. That's the only one that has sold more copies than it. And then because of, I'm probably going to even continue that back onto Xbox once the Spyros come to Game Pass. Just on a huge kick of those kind of games right now, and I'm having a super good time with it. It's really exciting to see PlayStation finally getting into the kind of like backwards compatibility. Now, a lot of PS2 games can't be directly backwards compatible because they're disc type. The PS5 physically can't read them. But it's really exciting to see a lot of those games come, and I really hope that like those games coming and doing really well, because Sly Cooper was the 20th most downloaded title in North America on PlayStation last month, which is insane considering that includes games like Minecraft and Fortnite. So it's really exciting to see that happen, and perhaps see maybe it kind of loosen some of the gears at Xbox, where to get back into that mindset of putting some of the old games back on the platform, because that is doing really well this year, whether it be third parties remastering games, PlayStation doing it. I really hope that this kind of just momentum in the industry moves forward with everyone. So, but yeah, it's been a good week.
Yeah, again, when you were talking to me just a little briefly before the show, when you said the Jak games, at first in my head I'm like, oh, the You Don't Know Jak games. And then I thought about it like, oh, Jak and Daxter, that makes way more sense. Yeah, so, although, hey, you might like those party games, I have no idea. But that's cool, man, that's cool. Great to see you catching up on all those. Moving on, we got GeneralMLD in the house. General, how you been?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good here. The 2023 spinoff, The Man Who Erased His Name. So, figured I'd play the spinoffs and see how I like them before I get into the mainline entries. So, yeah, that's me. And hopefully we get some ABK games dropping relatively soon. But, yeah, that's me. Good gaming.
All right. Happy to hear. Obviously, yesterday we had a bit of a game fest. Not video games, mind you, but we had a good old wargaming tabletop. Ooh, that was interesting, huh?
Yes, actual Warhammer. But, 1 round out of 5, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll talk about more after the show, but that was a fun time though. Lots of fun times were had. Um, let's see. Moving on to Grimes. Grimes, how you been, my brother?
What's up? What's up? Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. It was a good weekend for me. Just finished watching the Spain versus England game a few hours ago. Um, so pretty stoked about that. Gaming wise, I've been playing that Nickelodeon All Star game, which it's sort of terrible. I wouldn't recommend it. Um, but I played it on the XCloud, and I gotta say the experience was great, real smooth with no issues. Uh, Besides that, I'm still playing Callisto Protocol. Um, and then I'm just looking forward to next week when we get Flintlock and that weird looking Capcom game, Path of a Goddess, which comes out the day after Flintlock.
All right, that's cool. All right, playing some games, excited for some. Yeah, hey, man, that's awesome. Yeah. And yeah, I guess it's coming home, huh? Again.
Yep. Just like Canada. I mean, Canada played yesterday, I believe. They lost on penalties against Uruguay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they've been doing pretty good though in recent years. It's nice to see Canada do well, for sure. Yeah, lots of good footy being played these days. All right, thank you, Grimes. Next up, Shockley. Eric, how's things in your neck of the woods? Been playing anything?
Yeah, just been grinding on the First Descendant. Just trying to get caught up with some of my buddies that are up to I think like level 40. I guess it's like that's the level you get to get to like more of the I guess end game stuff. But yeah, just been grinding that. Played some Ninja Blade from Software
Ooh,
on
nice.
the 360. That one's pretty cool. It's kind of like uh like when you would say like I want McDonald's, but we got McDonald's at home. It's like, yeah, this is Ninja Gaiden, but this is if Ninja Gaiden at home. It's not as quietly or as quite as polished as Ninja Gaiden. Although like Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360 did have some slowdowns, like on a one specific area where there was like, if you played it, there's an area where it's like a staircase of like hundreds of enemies on screen, which was just demanding. It's solved on the 1X, but yes, there's some slowdowns like that on here where it's just like that's really the only thing holding it back. But otherwise, it's a really good time. There's a lot of QTEs in it, but outside of that, the action's pretty dope. So, but yeah, it'd be cool if that'd be an awesome one to do a back compat on, since they already got the From Software Togi games from OG Xbox, and the performance issues would probably be solved here, like they were solved on Ninja Gaiden 2 with backwards compatibility. So definitely one I want to see. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. So, but ready to get into these spicy topics today.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of spicy, a little on the tamer side in my opinion, but still interesting nonetheless, I do agree. And let's see, rounding out the crew here, we got the Dots, Mr. Dots RTS. How's your weekend been, my friend?
It's been good. I've honestly still been on that Final Fantasy 14 grind. Forget if I mentioned if I said it last week, but I did finally beat the campaign, the main story. It was very good. It's not as good as Endwalker, but that was not the goal. I mean, Endwalker was kind of like the finale of the era that it was going for. So this is kind of like the fresh start thing, and no, I had fun. I had fun with it, and now that I'm at least done with it now, I'm gonna probably be slowing down and spreading back out to different games again. But yeah, no, otherwise, no, I've been it's all been good on my front, that's for sure. I'm happy to be here.
All right, good stuff. Okay, that rounds out the crew. But yeah, a very quick reminder to kindly consider hitting the like button, subbing to the channel, and sharing out the show, guys, because hey, we would greatly appreciate it. It helps us out immensely. I really mean that. So if you could, that would just be really cool, really cool. And we have awesome listeners. I gotta say that. I really appreciate all of you tuning in. Always appreciate it on my behalf. But with that said, guys, yeah, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's dive into the first round of business, and that is the newly announced Xbox Game Pass tier. It's called Xbox Game Pass Standard, and it appears to be replacing Game Pass, we'll get into more of that, but like basically it costs about $14.99, like $15 USD, and offers like multiplayer plus access to like vaulted Game Pass titles. There is no day one game releases though, which is how do I put it? It's interesting. It's very interesting what they're doing here, and we're still waiting to hear about like how they'll be distributing those new titles into the tier, like timeline wise. We've been hearing a few different things on that, but we shall see. But yeah, Game Pass Ultimate's also affected by this, and it will be increased $3 to $19.99, basically $20 a month American. You know, a bit of a price hike. We've been seeing that, very recently. So yeah, really, I mean, quite a lot to digest here. Eric, I know you've been reading up on the new tiers, and you've been kind of covering that on your own, as everyone else has. What are your thoughts on Game Pass Standard just to lead us off here?
Yeah, it's I definitely didn't. I know a lot of us were saying like we were seeing probably price increases coming. I myself didn't see like them reverting on the like middle tier that they had. Obviously, they've kind of changed that, but as far as like what that middle tier is now called, so they obviously established that new standard tier. So I definitely didn't see that happening as far as like taking away, or at least setting up a new tier that's lesser than Game Pass Ultimate. That's not core, but that doesn't have the day one games. But I totally, I get it to a point, because if you think about like Call of Duty and it being just a huge seller, I'm sure that they sell, even if it's the third platform out of, between PC and PlayStation, as far as, where people are playing or buying Game Pass or buying Call of Duty, it's understandable that, there was going to be an increase, which we saw with Game Pass Ultimate. And I get it, they had the price increase last year, which that may have been more of an adjustment to kind of like inflation. We kind of saw Sony do the same thing after they had already established their merging of like PS Now and PS Plus. And like they, to their credit, they hadn't, technically raised the price since they announced Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass itself. Back in 2017, really, and then 2018 for Game Pass Ultimate, or actually Game Pass Ultimate, I believe, was 2019 when they established it. But still, I mean, that was a pretty good track record. It went up $2, and I think went up like $1, or yeah, maybe like $2, or no, $1 for a Game Pass console. But yeah, I mean, one good thing that I do like that they're at least doing, because otherwise they might have more of an issue like publicly with just like consumer. They're obviously letting you stay on the Game Pass console tier, which still is not technically taking away, from the existing subscribers they were talking to earlier this year, of like, hey, we're still honoring that you're still getting those games. Now they are kind of holding you into it's probably smart for them in a sense, because it's like, man, that tier is probably pretty good right now, because you still get the day one games, and that tier didn't even see a price increase out of all the other tiers that did, even PC. So at least they're keeping that and honoring that. So, but yeah, as far as the standard tier, I think they're at least what they're doing, I think, is aligning it more with like what PlayStation is offering. It's not PlayStation's fault, but PlayStation is, they've definitely gone up a decent amount from the 3 million people that were on PS Now to, I think there's about 14, at least 14 million that are paying those extra tiers on PS Plus for like premium and extra. So, and those don't offer day one games. So, and they're, when you break them down monthly, they're relatively pretty close to the same price as Game Pass. So, and it also does make a little bit more sense. Obviously, if you're on the console, you're not going to see the PC tier. So when you actually go on the console, you literally see 3 tiers, and at least it makes more sense now where you're not seeing, oh, well, if I go from Game Pass Core, you technically aren't upgrading when you go up to Game Pass Console, because then you're losing multiplayer. So it now actually is more of a progression of you're getting everything that the previous tier was getting and more. So it actually does simplify it a little bit more. So, despite what people would say, for consumers, when you're actually on the console and you're looking at which tier to buy when it presents it to you, it actually makes more sense. Not to like, hey, I upgraded, so I should still be able to play multiplayer like I did on Core. But then that was always kind of like a mixed, which didn't make sense why they made, at least initially, Xbox Live Gold as a Game Pass like branding, because the upgrading of tiers just didn't flow correctly, or as it should, to make actual sense. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the things I've also been hearing from a lot of the other like news outlets or gaming podcasts, or like or I was hearing a lot of it on I think it was watching Brap the other day, and a lot of phrases like you're being strong armed, like like mafia, like, oh, you have to, you have no choice. Like, you literally have a choice. You can buy your games normal, like you can do on every other console since the history of consoles, or you can still upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate and get your day one games. Or if you want to wait, maybe you'll get the games. Think about it, the games that go on Game Pass that are third parties that don't come out release, but we do get good fresh titles. Like Soul Hackers 2 came out like I think 6 or so months. Scarlet Nexus did as well, relatively 6 months or so, 8 months maybe after release. So yeah, during that time, you're still going to get a lot of those titles, so you can kind of make your decision of like what you want to do. So I mean, it's just some of the rhetoric of just like, you have no choice, you have no option. They're doing a real big scumming thing. I'm like, I get it. People are saying it's not sustainable, and I would say maybe adding Game Pass or Call of Duty into Game Pass, yeah, to make that continuation of, hey, we're adding you would never had an idea of there being ABK games going into Game Pass day one, a couple of years ago, with your Game Pass Ultimate just subscription. So if you still want that, or Game Pass to begin with. So if you still want that, and I get it, some people don't play COD, and now it's like, well, I don't play COD. Well, good. Hey, if you have console, you're still getting those games. So just don't unsubscribe. But yeah, as far as the like being forced, hey, to make this sustainable, and we're getting Modern Warfare 3, still, I think, one of, or if not the highest still selling game, or one of them from last year. So people are still, fresh on that game. That's pretty much how Call of Duty goes. It's usually Call of Duty is the best seller for that year, and the second place is the previous Call of Duty for that new year.
Right.
So I mean, at that point, where it sounds like we're going to get the flood of games that are coming, like not like a whole everything, but hey, they're giving us the freshest Call of Duty. It sounds like we're getting Crash. I think there was another game that got rumored that's supposed to be coming soon. So it sounds like they're giving us the titles that we've been asking for. If they can give us even more but backwards compatible titles and throw them into Game Pass, then that'll be even better. So I think that's what people still have to look at. You have a choice, and if you're not a subscriber, then you weren't making the money anyway, so you don't really have any I know I did see people complain about that. Oh, I was planning to get an Xbox for Christmas this year, so I don't have I mean, at that point, you're not a subscriber. You're not making the money to sustain their business or sustain this whole Game Pass as a whole for them to not just like cancel everything and just be like, you know what, we're going to stop that. We're just going to do what PlayStation's doing. They could just do that and give you no choice. Your choice would be just buy the games. So they're giving you a choice. So it's, so there is still that value. You just have to make your own decision. And, at least they're still continuing with this model. It's still great for us. Most of us were already on the Game Pass Ultimate tier. So I think there was a very low number of people that were on that tier. So but yeah, that's all I got. I'm definitely interested to see what everybody else is saying, so I'll definitely give them some time. But yeah, it sucks that the price went up at all, but I think they're going to stay at that $20 tier for a little bit longer than they did at the $17 tier, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand the price is going up, but of course I'm going to say it sucks. Like, especially, again, I do have to mention, being from Canada, the price is a little more, and again, like, I can eat it. I still feel the value there, but at the same time, of course, I'm talking about the rise in Ultimate. It is noticeable. It is noticeable nonetheless. So, definitely gonna keep track of that a little more going forward. But there still is like a ton of value to Xbox Game Pass, no doubt. But yeah, I am really excited to hear there has been a lot of corroboration regarding, like, from various outlets like Windows Central and a few others regarding certain titles we had talked about last week, and there seems to be more, like, again, Modern Warfare 3, very recent title, just this, again, past year released, and it sounds like we'll be, getting quite a few things very soon, and I cannot wait for those to drop. Let's see, MLD, why don't you continue on for us here? What are your thoughts on the matter?
Well, obviously nobody's celebrating this. No one likes to pay more money, but I do. I've seen the reactions. Some of it is genuine, but I do believe a lot of it is overblown as well. Now, for one, after the initial news, you still look at what's being offered and what's coming, and compared to the competition, it's still better. Even after this, the gap is still so wide compared to, say, PlayStation Plus. So, in that regard, we're still getting a pretty good deal. And I do believe the PlayStation guys that are making the biggest fuss, they have no business calling this out when they never got day one games and they got a price increase last year. I mean, they do get some day one indie games, but Game Pass gets so many day one indies, I can't even count them. But back on topic here, they got a raise last year, but there was no real incentive or trade-off. Like, we know we're getting the Activision Blizzard King back catalog, and all future games will be day one, starting with Call of Duty. And I really can't stress how Black Ops Day 1 on Game Pass is such a huge deal and downright historic compared to given its 20-year run as an IP, and how pro-consumer that is. To give up a lot of potential revenue to serve your subscribers, that's not lost on me. So, but a lot of people are focusing on the middle tier now. Now, people say that it's being taken away, and to that I say, technically, those who are currently inside it, they get to keep it. It's not being taken away. This applies to new subscribers, and you can't take away what was never given to you in the first place regarding any new people coming to the service. But I also know what people don't talk about is that the middle tier of Game Pass right now, it never came with online multiplayer. It was either Game Pass Core or Game Pass Ultimate. The middle tier had the day one game, sure, but you're kind of locked to single player games or free to play games. So that's kind of the trade-off now. In a way, the middle tier did get better in that you can actually play online multiplayer of Game Pass games that have it. Because I think that's the whole point of Game Pass, is to play social games. I mean, there's games of all kinds, right? But the idea is to get social games onto the service so that you can actually play with friends and recommend them. So your friends can get Game Pass. So at least the middle tier gets that. But in that regard, all first-party games would come to the middle tier of Game Pass, and say 6 to 12 months later. And in that regard, I do feel like every tier of Game Pass now is basically meant for a different kind of gamer, because not all gamers play games when they release. A lot of gamers are preoccupied with their backlogs. They're playing other games at the moment and want to finish that game first. A lot of times, like say for me, I didn't play Persona 3 Reload until say 3 months after it came out onto Game Pass. Even though it was day one, I just didn't get to it right away because I know it's a time-demanding game. So I do feel like if you're the kind of gamer that can wait a few months, like 6 months or so, then Game Pass Standard might just be for you then. You'll still get value out of it, because I obviously don't know the intimate details of PlayStation Plus too much, but I seriously, I doubt PlayStation puts their first-party games that quickly on their service. In fact, they're known for taking out their first-party games on that service. So I still believe that Game Pass Standard is superior, because waiting 6 months beats waiting an unknown amount of time for, say, Sony's first party. So there's that.
They also get games later than Game Pass, so even standard. So
exactly. Like for their own service.
Remnant.
Yeah. So go finish your thought. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say 2 of their games they just announced, No More Heroes 3 and I think Remnant 2. They were already in Game Pass like 6 to 8 months before that.
Yes, I do recall
and those aren't day one titles, so that would be like the standard tier.
Right. Yeah, I do remember seeing Remnant 2 on Game Pass a lot earlier. So even with that, even with losing day one games, gaining multiplayer and getting first party or day one games third party a lot sooner than what Sony would do, that still makes it I do believe it somewhat justifies it, in my opinion. It does have its uses if you're the kind of gamer that can wait. Now, Game Pass Core, not much to say here. It got a bit of a bump to $75 a year. Now, we all know what it is, as a rotating library of select Game Pass games. And in my opinion, that's the kind of thing that kind of softens the blow. If it was just online multiplayer and nothing else, or those bad Xbox Live games for gold, we all know how bad those were before it was shuttered. At least the games from Game Pass that it does offer us, I do believe it does soften the blow. But the whole point is to incentivize people to upgrade from Game Pass Core. But I digress there. Game Pass Ultimate, nothing changes, thankfully, but it is $3 more expensive per month. And frankly, I'm someone that has been a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber since it was introduced, actually. So several years now. I already made back my sub, and we're halfway through the year. And $36 more a year, that's nothing. I mean, that is still more than worth it, because I do plan to play Call of Duty, and being that 8-hour campaign is automatically $70 worth of value. So I mean, I could go on with that. And I mean, but in that regard though, like there's so many day one games coming this year. It's not like they raised the price and have nothing to show for it. People tend to forget, but this also applies to third party as well. I mean, you guys mentioned those I forgot the name, but you said it was a Japanese game that came out day one.
Persona Reload.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
And you got the $35 DLC for free. You keep that.
Yeah, the season pass.
That was unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to Stalker 2. Many are. That's coming in September. That is a AAA full-price video game. And this month alone, you guys mentioned it before, Flintlock and the Capcom new IP. In 1 month, we're getting 2, like, at least AA day one Game Pass games. And that's in July. And And never mind, what is it? September, we got well, at least maybe like 8 Game Pass games from Xbox first party. Towerborn, Flight Sim, Avowed, Indiana. I mentioned Call of Duty before. You have Aura for PC. So again, all games day one that more than justify the $3 more a month, in my opinion. Now, what people do seem to be latching on to is PC Game Pass. And this, I mean, I got it. As a console Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, I do look at them and see, yeah, they're getting charged a lot less and are keeping day one games. But luckily, I can kind of see it from I can see it from both sides of the aisle. It's because PC Game Pass still has a lot of room to grow, whereas console Game Pass, it kind of now slowly goes up as consoles are sold like every month, whereas PC has the highest ceiling of where to grow. And PC gamers, they can be very fickle gamers there. I mean, we've all seen what happened with Helldivers 2, and they were asked to make a free PlayStation account, and they did not like that whatsoever for a variety of reasons. But basically what I'm trying to say is, you gotta be delicate, and you have to give PC gamers an objectively better deal to incentivize them to come over. Because again, I can't stress this enough, they want to grow Game Pass, and PC is at the forefront of where they are. I mean, we know about their cloud efforts, but cloud is just, I do feel like cloud is a slow burn. PC is the kind of market that can get them quicker results, like right now, basically. Now, I mean, I did mention cloud, that should have its own tier. Now that I'm thinking about this, if they're gonna change the tiers and prices, I do feel like Xbox Cloud Gaming should have its own. Because right now it's locked to Game Pass Ultimate. And if you're trying to sell this on TVs or Amazon Fire Sticks to casual gamers, $20 is a bit of a steep ask, I gotta say. I mean, the Xbox would do a lot better to make, say, a strictly cloud only $10 a month for xCloud. And I feel like that would get them a lot more traction in the cloud market. But I hope that I'm not the first person to say that, and I hope that executives do see the sentiment, and they work on that. But I do want to talk about sustainability, and that, in my opinion, is what this is all about.
Right.
People have been saying for years that day one games are not sustainable. And to a degree, I do kind of agree with that, because no one else is really doing it. I mean, Sony will do the occasional day one indie game like Stray, but they won't go AA, and they certainly won't go AAA day one. Only Game Pass is doing this. So we kind of have to face the hard truth that this is probably a costly endeavor Xbox is doing for us. Now, I mean, I'm paying for the sub, so I'm 100% gonna take advantage. I don't care if it loses Xbox money. I'm looking out for my own personal value. I want to play the maximum amount of games and save the most amount of money, and I'm gonna do that so long as it's available to me. But this was done in the name of sustainability. We can't like day one games, but also be blind to the obvious costs associated with it. And I do feel like part of the reason why it was taken away from standard was because of potential abuse. I mean, I do see a lot of gamers online that outright brag about this, where they sign up for 1 month on the middle tier of Game Pass, they beat a day one game that comes to the service, and they just as easily unsubscribe. This way, they can at least sign up for 1 month of Ultimate, pay the maximum amount, so it's like they're paying a third for the game. Even if they unsubscribe, at least they paid the maximum amount they could if they choose to continue to abuse the service. So there is that. I do feel like they obviously are pushing us into the highest tier, because that's where all the value is. It's the best deal in gaming even now. And you only really need to play 3 games a year, new games, to break even. like maybe like one game on sale or something like that. And that's child's play. Even like we're core gamers. We play a lot of games. But even for a casual gamer, only playing 3 new games, and especially if one of those games is Call of Duty, that is so easy to break even with the new Game Pass Ultimate tier. And I mean, there was a long wait, but the rumors are heating up. The floodgates are starting to open. You know, Call of Duty, Crash, Spyro, Tony Hawk, Black Ops coming, and all the other games I mentioned before. So I'm not defending the price increase per se. No one likes to pay more. I don't want to pay more. I mean, I'm in Canada. Costs of living are pretty high these days. But based on what we're getting, at least you can kind of justify it. You can understand it, is what I'm saying. And end of the day, compared to everyone else that's competing with Game Pass, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, Luna, and of course PlayStation Plus, Game Pass Ultimate is still the service to beat. End of day. So when day one games gets dropped from Game Pass Ultimate, I will be right there with everyone else raging away, because that is truly what sets Xbox apart. So I'm glad that while we can all acknowledge costs are higher to do this, at least they're keeping it in some way. So I do hope this is the last increase we'll see for a good while. I do feel like after $20, it becomes a much harder sell. So I hope it stays like this.
I mean, one can hope. I don't know, the way things are going right now, hard to really say. I mean, I would even expect, a slight increase in maybe not the near future, but I can just see it happening. But that's just my guess, anyways. That being said, though, well said, General. Well said. Again, I think I'm just curious with Standard when the games will drop eventually, like the newer release games. Will it be 3 months? Will it be 6, 9, a full year? Will they do it like on a per game basis and kind of judge them depending on what the game is? Hard to say. Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that, but time will tell. Time will tell.
The statement from Windows Central was some 6 months, some up to 12 months, some even longer than 12 months.
Yeah.
Case by case basis. That's what they said.
Case by case basis with no explanation as to what was what, and no official statement from Microsoft at all.
That does make sense, though. I mean, I do feel like it would apply case by case, because let's say if players start to level off, that would be the first sign to consider bringing it to standard tier of Game Pass. If player counts are consistently high, might be leaning towards a year. So it would depend on the game and seeing player interest, whether it drops off or holds.
Yeah. I agree with you on that, MLD. Let's see. Next, I'll go over to Dots. Then Grimes and Crusader will round us out on this one. Dots. I'm curious on your thoughts here with this newly announced Game Pass standard tier. Obviously, Eric and MLD have said their piece. What's your thoughts on this newly announced tier?
It was kind of expected. I was at least expecting, with inflation and all that fun stuff, that there was going to be a price increase. Them pushing it into another tier, I wasn't expecting as much, but I guess in the end all be all, it does provide more options for not screwing people out of them who want to just spend some money to at least keep access to the service, even if they're not getting all the features, versus you're locked into either all the features or none of the features. So while I think we're all in agreement that it sucks that that they have to add another tier. There's a higher price margin for almost across the board. That at least it is not preventing people from being on the platform if they're just wanting to pay the minimum. I think that's the important part that people need to look at, because like it's one thing if like you're in a MMO subscription and the subscription price goes up, and that couple extra dollars a month is gonna kill you. You got to cancel the subscription. There's no alternatives. At least with the Xbox One, while they have gated some of the features behind the higher tier, they're not gating everything away from you if you stay at the lowest the $10 tier or whatnot. So yeah, I'm overall in agreement with the other guys said. It sucks because inflation, but at the very least Xbox isn't gonna lose too many people over this, I would think. I mean, it's the same grumblings of people who paying for Disney or Netflix, and they grumble about it, but then they still pay the money and still get the content that they are asking for. So they're sticking with it even with the grumbling. And the people who literally can't afford the highest tier at least have access to that lower tier to maintain that they can stay with the platform. And like was said, with the PC gaming side of things, they're relatively untouched. The PC definitely is a huge market that Microsoft's not going to be not wanting to have a detriment with, because you are correct. The PC gaming community is fickle. So I would say at the moment, like, they're going to keep with what they got. And yeah, honestly, just hopefully this is the only change for a hot minute. And I'm sure I think a lot of the griping online for this is coming out of the fact that we're still kind of in a content drought, at least a first party content drought, because I think Crusader, you said this last week, is just the fact that maybe this was a conversation outside the podcast, but like how some months it's worth to have Game Pass and some months it's really not.
I say that all the time. So
Yeah, you get blended in from between your tweets and the conversation and whatnot. But yeah, like there are some months where Game Pass is worth $20 this month because of all this great stuff, and it's like, yeah, Game Pass is barely worth $10 this month because we got one game that I've heard of on the roster, and the rest of them are subpar indie games, third parties that are probably not for me, even if they're for someone else. Not bashing other people's preferences. So yeah, but the fact that we have the variety options is good. The fact that the price has gone up is inevitable. But I think a lot of the griping right now is because of the fact that we are not flooded with good first party games that are really taking up the time and putting a lot of people on the console. We said this before. We said this last week. It's like once we get those Call of Duties on Game Pass, that's going to bring a lot of people in. And we've gotten an announcement. I think we're going to be talking about that later, but so yeah, no. So that's my take on it, and hopefully this does. I don't see this being a big impact. I don't see this news having massive tremors or ripples. It's one of those inevitable. Oh, this streaming service price is going up. Oh, this streaming service price is going up. This subscription is going to be going up. It's how the economy has been working recently, and that's just something that we're dealing with, and it sucks, but it's not something unique to Xbox that Xbox deserves hate because they're raising their prices and no one else is. That's not a fact at all. So yeah, I think a lot of people are angry at the fact that it's going up during this bit of a micro drought we have going on right now.
All right. Fair commentary there, Dots, and well
Let's
said.
not forget how much all of us have abused the ever-living shit out of their system.
Yeah, I've taken advantage of some things, I won't lie.
In next week.
Hmm.
I'm stacking up to 2 years.
There you go.
Nice.
One last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't say I blame you on that one.
I think I still got a month code like from my original Xbox One somewhere hidden around. I haven't even used yet.
It isn't good anymore.
Yeah, it's probably
It usually
expired.
expire after 2 years.
You know what? It's not expired if I don't use it.
It's not how that works at all.
I wish it worked like that.
It's not expired in my
fridge isn't
heart.
Expired because I didn't use it.
It's not expired in my heart.
Can you imagine?
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Can you imagine how much money I would save that way? Oh man.
No, you have to be a PlayStation fanboy for that to work.
Nice.
Dots, you're dropping them tonight. Damn. Spicy Dots. Spicy Dots is great Dots. No, that's good stuff. Good good stuff there, Dots. All right, moving on to Grimes and then Crusader. Grimes, obviously you've been listening on what the gang has been saying so far. Yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on this newly announced tier for Game Pass?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Shock, MLD, and Dots have said so far. By the way, Dots, have you ever used Game Pass for Windows, or do you just strictly play on
I
Steam?
I think I bought it. I think I used a code for it for a month to get access to Forza, but I've mostly maintained my presence on Steam, and unfortunately, most of my Xbox PC gaming is for things like Halo Wars and whatnot.
You know, so that brings up a point why why it hasn't been raised, the price hasn't been raised for a PC, because it's hard to get people into that system, so into that service. So imagine if they raise the price. But here's the thing, for me at least: if there are no layoffs or studio closures in the next 2 to 3 years, then I'm okay with a price increase. And I only support it for the betterment of a platform. Now, if you think the price increase is not justifiable, then vote with your wallet. As simple as that. Like MOD said, even with a price increase, it's still the best deal in gaming. We're getting thousands of dollars worth of games for $240 a year. That's about, give or take, 4 games. So, you know, some of us are playing more than 20 games for in a calendar year. So we're definitely getting a good amount for that, for 240. And look, if by 2026 Game Pass Ultimate is, or any Game Pass service, let's say Game Pass Ultimate is $30 a month, I'm out. No question about that. How, you know, again, vote with your wallet. How many people are even on the other Game Pass tiers anyway? Can't be that many. Most of us are on the Game Pass Ultimate tier. You know, when Game Pass was first announced, just like MLD said, I was there from the start, and I was just on the regular Game Pass model. But as soon as the Ultimate tier came along, I switched to that because I also play on Windows, and it just made more sense for me. But yeah, like Dots just proved, I can't see that many Windows players using the Game Pass for PC, which makes sense why it hasn't been raised. And with a standard, it's probably a small amount of players on that tier as well. I just think most Xbox console players are on Ultimate. And another thing I have to say is the whole naming convention and system is so confusing and needs to change. It's a massive problem. I'm also very surprised they didn't announce a $3 to $5 tier with ads. That right there would have been a killer deal. And I think they need to get rid of the Xbox, the Game Pass core tier altogether. Seems absolutely pointless to me. Even if you get 25 games, I just don't see the point of it. I would rather have it replaced by an ad tier Game Pass, and like MOD said, maybe include Xbox Cloud in that tier. It just that would definitely attract more players to Game Pass. And like I said, Game Pass Standard, for example, needs first of all, it needs a better name. It I would much rather prefer calling it like Game Pass Basic. Something use like the Netflix naming convention. I don't have any issues with the day one games not being on the standard. EA Play has a similar tier, and people don't complain about that. The only issues for me is you can't just say it's case by case basis on when those day one games come to the service. You need to give a definite answer. I don't know, 3, 6, 9 months, something like that. Whatever, but just can't say case by case basis.
Would you say the way EA does it is good?
I
EA's
mean,
is 12-month maximum with games coming. They can come sooner than that.
yeah. I mean,
And they usually come but within 6 to 8, but EA has a set maximum of 12.
For sure. I mean, look, they just dropped FIFA or EA FC 24 just a few weeks ago, and it was right on the dot. And I think they also dropped one of the Formula One games came to the service. So yeah, but so no one complains when EA does it, and they have like Crusader just mentioned, they have a set time, give or take a set time frame, which is much better. Another thing, sort of sidetracking, but did anyone see the XCloud commercial for the Fire Stick?
Yes, I did.
You don't need a console.
Yeah, I mean, I know people were complaining about that messaging, blah blah blah, but it's just marketing talk.
It's literally marketing 101 to not disparage one of your products to move one of your own products to move another product. Because that's counterintuitive to actually selling.
But I agree with you. But again, like as we discussed last week, console players are not going anywhere. This was an ad for your casual player.
Well, yeah, I ask you one thing: like, how sensitive are we? Right? I mean, we know it's meant for other gamers that they're trying to bring in. My console experience isn't changing, and we've all known for years Xbox is an ecosystem. I don't need their marketing department to consider my feelings when making an ad. So I don't
care about my personal feelings. I care about people actually buying the damn thing, so shit actually comes to our console from third parties. That's my shtick. I don't care that they're fucking up their marketing, but it's indirectly affecting me.
Yeah, but again,
it's going to indirectly affect me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know.
I mean, what I would add to that though is, again, when you're talking about like the Fire Stick and whatnot, I mean, I don't think it's gonna hit, like it's gonna really affect like the console guys that much. I mean, it is another option, and I like having the options. But I mean, console guys, I mean, okay, we do like our cloud streaming and everything, and of course we like our Game Pass. But I mean, I don't think a lot of us are just going to be going out and buying a Fire Stick just for the fact of, you know, oh man, I'm just going to switch because I can do the streaming from the Fire Stick. I do agree that some of the messaging could be a little better on point. I do agree with that. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people are, like, again, the console guys are going to be switching, especially the hardcore guys. So,
Yeah,
And-
it's
So much
it's gonna
switching.
be
It's that like people who might buy a second Xbox might not, or not buy. I don't mean a second Xbox. Might buy a second console in addition to one that they already have, because most people are Switch or PlayStation players. Instead of buying a second console, are going to buy the streaming stick.
But look, if you play, let's say 3 games a year, or like just one game. Let's say you just play one game a year. You're not gonna buy a console just for one game. You're just probably better off just
I mean, that's what
playing.
people did for generations now. We're saying that's suddenly not true. In
If
fact,
you're talking
Microsoft
about
even
third
made the cheap
party,
console to do that. The Series S. That was the whole point.
yeah,
Was
if
to sell it to
anything,
people who
that's
couldn't
gonna make
afford a
devs
console
skip
or wanted
it.
a secondary.
Well,
But they are moving. I'm sorry, MOD. Go ahead.
sorry, I just want to say, like, if the real threat to, like Crusader was saying, that there's a third party threat of pulling out, the Series S is that's more of a reason for third party devs to skip Xbox, not them
Sure.
marketing cloud.
I would fully agree with that statement. I don't think that they're I don't think these are mutually exclusive things, right? Like I think they're both problems that Microsoft's facing.
Well, cloud's a slow burn anyway. It's not really taking off right now. They're really just setting the stage for cloud when it does take off.
Yeah. And besides, like you guys were saying, they've realized that the Series S isn't the way to go. That's why we're going the handheld route for next gen. So it's going to be cloud, handheld, and your, your elite console, the more expensive one. So you're going to have those 3 options.
mm-hmm. I mean, I am very curious. I mean, they keep talking about, I mean, they had teased hardware, but, we didn't see anything of that at their recent, showcase. So, when it came to, like, the handheld stuff. So I'm very curious to see. We know that they're interested. I mean, Phil has hinted at it immensely over the past year or so. So, again, I want to see what their ambitions are for, handheld, whatever that means for them. So, very curious, especially with, whenever the Switch 2 wants to get announced as well. I'm very curious. Anything else, Grimes?
No, I'll let Crusader speak now.
All right, Crusader, you have the floor, and please.
Keep this quick. Price hike, bad. I've called out every price hike in the industry since this generation started. Whether it be the games, services, called it all out. Xbox, PlayStation. I don't think Nintendo's actually had a real price hike except for like selling one game at 70. But like, yeah, I called it all out. That is what it is. My problems with this increase are marketing wise, expectation wise, and kind of how they're treating the console gamer in general. Let's talk the console gamer first. PC has an option to get the full experience with just PC, right? They can get day one games, they don't have to pay for online, and they get the full library that's being offered to PC in one package. They don't need to pay for cloud if they don't want to. They don't need to pay for console if they don't want to. Cloud really doesn't get that option, as MLD brought up. There is no standalone cloud option. You have to have the most expensive tier. On console, there is no option to have the best version that console could get without needing to also pay for PC and cloud, right? In order to get online play, in order to get day one games and the library all together, you have to pay for Ultimate. PC doesn't have to do that. In fact, PC doesn't even have to do that for EA Play. EA Play is included with PC Game Pass. So the console gamer doesn't have an option to have the best version for console. And I think that's where I really, really, really hate the Game Pass standard thing concept, because it really isn't what it should be for console players, even if it had to be a little bit more expensive at like 16 or 17 bucks. It's just not the option that should be there for them. I think that this option should probably be like the $12 option, and a $16 option should be like the full console experience, and then Ultimate is everywhere plus the perks of like the DLCs and stuff. But then you have the messaging of all of this. Since Game Pass was incepted, the whole concept of Game Pass was it's the best value in gaming because it has day one games. That has been true since they announced the service. And now you have the tier you're calling Game Pass Standard, which would be what you would expect to be like the kind of tier that is the kind of pure form of Game Pass without all the bells and whistles on the high end and without the cheap stuff on the low end. And you have that option, but it doesn't offer day one games. So anytime you see a commercial that says play it day one in Game Pass from like the entire marketing event that just happened in June, if I was a consumer, I would think, oh, that would be Game Pass Standard, and it would not come across that this is no longer the case. And so Microsoft has created this giant marketing headache for themselves in removing day one games in this way at this time right after this marketing event. That's just dumb. And then the naming convention just in itself, core should be called Game Pass Lite. It should be Lite, Standard, and Ultimate. That makes the most sense. And if you wanted to have the standard tiers, there should probably be a standard tier for standard console, standard PC, and standard cloud. And those, I'm sorry, they should have day one games. That was the entire marketing presence of the service. It's like changing HBO to Max. It fundamentally or changing Twitter to X. You are losing a portion of the value. That being said, we're not changing the name of it, but we are changing the basic objective of what Game Pass is, which was the day one games. That's why Game Pass was the best value in gaming. And to have the version you're calling the standard version not line up with multiple years of marketing and why people liked it is a really, really bad move. But it's a really, really bad move that for people on console who happen to lapse, or for people on console who are new to the console, having them have to pay $8 more than the PC equivalent is awful. Awful. I can understand having to pay a little bit more for the online. I get the concept. I disagree with the concept because Steam has been able to exist without having to have users pay for their online services for years. But I get the principle that you pay for the online to fund all of the sign-in services, to fund all of the networking servers and everything that kind of Xbox is built off of. But it shouldn't be an $8 differential for console players to get the best console experience that is just a console experience versus the PC gamers getting the best PC experience and just the PC experience. And Microsoft's messaging on this has been kind of terrible, and it's kind of it obviously got announced early because people, our Canadian brothers, got the email early, and that's why this got announced on a random. I think it was Tuesday. Was this on Tuesday? It was on a random like Tuesday evening, right?
Yeah.
That this got
Yeah.
announced in an email, and then they didn't have a blog post up for hours, and everything was hearsay. This needs to stop happening. The messaging should have been straightforward and just out there immediately before any emails went out. That is a massive mistake for quite a substantial change for customers, both current and moving forward, right? Because like as soon as you shift out of that tier, you can't go back. That has been confirmed. So you are only grandfathered in as long as you stay grandfathered in. As soon as you want online capabilities and upgrade to Ultimate, you have lost the ability to go back to that old service. That has been confirmed. So this is just it's just another chain in a long chain of marketing gaffes or PR gaffes for Microsoft at this point, and it's getting frustrating. It's getting really frustrating because we haven't really seen new initiatives that are really pushing our experience as existing customers. They have had a few initiatives to push for new customers, like going to Samsung TVs or going to the Fire Sticks, and that's great. But we haven't had an initiative that really pushes the existing customers since 2021 with the last backwards compatibility drop and the last FPS boost drop. Maybe you could say the new console UI, which happened last year. I think that was last year. The new console UI. But we haven't seen huge initiatives that push the the kind of bill forward for existing customers, except for maybe the Activision Blizzard acquisition. But they testified in court that the inclusion of any Activision Blizzard content in Game Pass would not increase the price of the service. They testified this to multiple regulators, which is why I find it hilarious that anyone justifies this price increase with Activision Blizzard content. Because if that is the actual Activision Blizzard, they committed perjury to multiple regulators.
You can easily just
Straight
say
up
it's
perjury.
inflation. You could just easily say it's inflation, though.
That's
Well,
what
this
they'll
is
say.
pre
But if
ABK.
anyone is trying to justify the ABK content being the reason to increase the service, and that is the actual reason, then Microsoft committed perjury. Okay? They straight up committed perjury if that is the actual justification. So I will not. You won't hear me sit here and say that that it's acceptable that the prices are going to increase because of Activision Blizzard, specifically because Microsoft said it would not be acceptable. They agreed with the regulators who had those concerns.
Yeah.
And those regulators were like, we're concerned you'll increase prices because of Activision Blizzard for your customers. And they straight up said that this is a phony concern because we're not going to do that because of Activision Blizzard content.
Mm-hmm.
So that is straight up. I will not accept that as a reason. And if Microsoft comes out and says that, then I really do hope that they get investigated for that, because that is something that they committed to in court. It wasn't in court, but it is legally binding to the CMA, and it was in court to the FTC.
We had covered
that. That is a
yeah.
massive problem. No one should be using Activision Blizzard as a defense for the price increase, because Microsoft cannot. they cannot use it as a justification. Because they said it wouldn't impact things. So
they're still coming all the same, though.
I accept the price increase due to inflation. I'm not even really. I'm complaining about that in the same way I complained about $10 games, in the same way that I complained last year about both Xbox and PS Plus. I can get over the generic price increase as long as it doesn't happen again for a little while. If it happens again in the next year, then it is a bit of a problem. But I can get over the price increase. I'm not even upset about that. I'm upset that the structure of the service solved one problem with the Game Pass, the generic console version of Game Pass not having online, but caused another problem with it not having day one games, like to have a just complete version for just console. Like, that is a mistake. That is the thing that I do not like here, is that there is, and to a lesser extent, cloud. And I think that it's a problem for cloud. I just don't think that there's enough cloud customers that aren't customers who are either using PC or console, right? I don't think that there are enough just raw cloud customers for me to feel a genuine concern for them. But there are enough just raw console players for me to feel a concern for that. Then there are times where it's like, I don't want the PC Game Pass. I don't want the XCloud. I could live without Ultimate, but I don't have an option that gives me the best console experience without the other crap. And so that's my biggest take on this is not so much the price increase. I care about that as much as I care about the $10 increase in games. It's something I'm just gonna have to live with. It sucks, and I'll bitch about it, but that's about all I'll do, right? I'm not quite at my breaking point. My breaking point would probably be like $22, $23 based on how many games I play a year. I have actually done the math with a spreadsheet. Well, someone challenged me online. So I did my math. But them not actually having a good structure for Game Pass still is probably my biggest complaint about this. Does that make sense? Like legitimately just the tiers I don't think are structured well for console
I
players.
mean, I do agree with you that, I mean, okay, we do have a more substantial amount of content coming, like towards the second half of this year. It's just a matter of how they disperse that and what happens after the new year.
Like, because this fall looks insane. MLD basically listed them all off. You know, it's Avowed, Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, Age of Mythology, Aura History Untold,
Stalker.
I think Replaced is supposed to come out this year. Like there is a lot to fill the second half of this year. But there wasn't a ton to fill the first half of the year. There were a couple good months. There was the Persona month, which was really good, and there was the Hellblade. I think that was February. It was either January or February.
I want to say February.
And there was May, which had Hellblade, right? Those 2 months were pretty good. But they are, if you compare them to what we're getting this fall, they're not comparable, right? The first half of this year is not comparable to the second half of this year. And that's a problem I've been bitching about since I got on this show, is that Microsoft has these weird periods where, like, we have, like, 4 awesome games in a row. Like, we have Psychonauts, we had Back for Blood, then we had Halo, and then we had Forza, right? And we had these, that was in 2021, we had these really good months in a row. And then we had, like, 12 months in a row in 2022 where there was just kind of intersparsed very, very little. And then last year we had a couple really good months in a row with Starfield and Forza Horizon, or not Forza, Forza Motorsport, and there was a couple other games in the fall, and it was really good. And then we again had this spring, which was really, really low. And so I really, really hope that we're getting into a period where Microsoft is going to have consistent banger after banger quarters, and we can have like a month where like the month of like January can be off, but like we can't go back to this like 6-month intersparsed kind of like kind of periods when you're reaching prices this high for Ultimate. We really cannot. Unless you create a new initiative in Ultimate. We saw the really, really good that Shockley brought up, the really, really good DLCs for Persona that were just included. And we saw that they included Final Fantasy the 14, the starter edition, right? There's like $20 starter edition. But those were the only 2 of that they did this year. If they really want to cover months where stuff isn't good, then really push that kind of functionality. And for games that are on the service, give away their season passes. Negotiate with Ubisoft to give away the DLCs for Valhalla, right? Do that, do like those kind of things. And make it so that even your weak months don't look weak. That's really what I want to see with, if they really want players to be paying $20 a month for a service where they rent the titles, you really need to push the value beyond even just the raw, like, I'm paying $70 versus this is what I'm paying for the year, because you don't get to keep those games in the end, right? You have to say sub. So your value has to be higher than what you would be outright paying. It has to be considerably higher. Probably like it depends on the person, how much they care. But like, if I was to go out and buy Call of Duty, I would probably play it for a couple months and I'd sell it, and I wouldn't get a lot for it, but I'd probably get like 20, 30 bucks back. So that's the kind of thing you got to be thinking about with the rental service, is that the value does have to be significantly higher than what you're paying for it, because you don't get to keep it. And so I just want to see what this fall looks like. Actually land without too much delay. Like if 1 or 2 games got to get delayed, 1 or 2 games got to get delayed. But I want to see this fall land and land hard, and I don't want to see it stop. And then a lot of the bitching falls away when things look good. And I think that's Dots brought it up, and of course he stole the thunder a little bit. These things feel worse in times where it's kind of a lull. And so getting the price increase during a lull feels bad, and it's going to cause more people to talk when it's more ignorable when things are good. And so if Microsoft can get things to a point where they're constantly good releases all the time, and by all the time I mean like at least once a quarter, then like they've said they would, then we're cooking. Then this all fades away, and this nonsense just kind of isn't as important because you don't notice it over how good things are, right? And even when you have droughts, if you can have the good going for long enough consistently, like Nintendo or PlayStation have, and when they go into droughts, they don't get the kind of irritable people as much because some of them are still playing off of how good stuff was. They're able to keep sustained, and Microsoft hasn't been able to keep that sustainment going. They need to keep a sustainment going. And so I think there is a bit of an overreaction, even from myself personally, because Microsoft hasn't created a era of sustainment where things constantly feel good. In fact, this year has felt more bad than not. So that's my take on this. The price increase is what it is. The tiering needs to be better.
All right. Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, Crusader, and yeah, I mean, I think as the months go on, like it'll be interesting to see if they introduce any more tiers. Again, I believe it was Grimes or Dots who had brought up, about ads. I know that I think they are interested in adding in like an ad tier.
I'd be really interested to see how that would even work. Like, do you inject ad bars into the game? Like, what
No,
do you do?
I would say before the game starts,
Okay.
just see like a 15 to 30-second trailer.
Like when you open your console or open the main menu.
I mean, listen, when you open the console, when your main menu is already flooded with ads.
Well, it would pop up like full on pop up ads,
yeah.
or just they're there on the
the console. Whenever a new major game that they either have a partnership with or own releases, there is a full screen pop up when your console starts. Additionally, 3 of the tiles on the main menu are ad tiles now. Just in general.
Like, yeah, you see, that's the thing too, because they can't really interject it into games, especially like multiplayer-based games too. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm in the middle of a fight.
In the middle of and that's where I'm like, the ad concept's cool, but like, will there like if it's only once when you open the game? I mean, I can play a game for like 8 hours. Like, am I only gonna be
but not on cloud. On cloud, most people are not gonna play for 8 hours straight.
Okay, cloud makes more sense.
I was talking about doing the
cloud makes more sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just curious to see if more come. But yeah, time will tell. Time will tell, and we'll see how this works out and how successful it will be. All right, I think that does it for that topic, guys. But yeah, I mean, pretty good discussion so far. Guys in the chat, everyone tuning in, again, thank you all for being here. It's always appreciated. If you haven't done so already, smash that like button, share out the show, as we would love to have more eyes and ears here, and a sub to the channel. Would love to have you stick around, of course, all the new faces. Okay, all right, my friends, let's move on to some other bits of news, and it is Game Pass related too. It branches in there. We're hearing some rumors that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the most recent entry into the mammoth of a series, Call of Duty, will be making its way to Xbox Game Pass very soon, maybe even at the end of this month. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of things, really. With this getting like substantiated by a few news outlets. I believe Windows Central had said something, or Insider Gaming, something like that. This is in addition to other reports of more Activision titles moving soon into the service. So yeah, Call of Duty making its way to Game Pass. I can see this, again, just being a big driver for the service. Hell, it's Call of Duty. Now, Dot's my PC-centric friend. I would love to have your opinion on this latest batch of rumors. Should we expect some COD on the menu soon?
Soon TM in the classic Activision Blizzard style. Now, if this rumor is coming out that this is an actual soon thing, I'll take it and kind of roll with it. I think there's a couple people who would be generally upset about the fact that it's Modern Warfare 3, which I understand that's the most recent one that came out. So putting that on Game Pass is kind of like, okay, the last thing we put out is now free to you guys to get you prepped for the next big one. I still think it's kind of throwing off the thematic part of it of, what about World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, got a whole catalog. And this is just going back into the whole, like, we have this backlog of Activision Blizzard games that we want to see hit, Xbox console and even PC, whatever. And they're holding that so close to their chest. I'm worried they're just gonna forget to let go. And so, like, cool. I'm happy. A big Call of Duty game. I think overall the remake of Modern Warfare 3 was pretty well received overall. And I'm glad they're putting something out there, but I think it's missing the mark just enough that it's not the what we're looking for as gamers. Because most likely, anyone who is currently active in Call of Duty right now, who is going to get Black Ops 6, already has Modern Warfare 3, and the two games aren't connected in any way in terms of story. And I'm not an active player. Maybe like there's the Warzone stuff is all still like connected. Like, I guess if you have Warzone stuff in Modern Warfare 3, it might carry over to Warzone stuff in Black Ops 6. I don't know how that works because I don't play it. So, don't take my word for that. But like that's the only connection I could even conceivably think. So other than that, like, if you spent the $70 for Modern Warfare 3, you already own the game. Who cares if it's on Game Pass? And then anyone who's putting Game Pass on and then playing it, I'm assuming they don't have access to the remake of 1 and 2 on Game Pass, do they?
No.
Yes. No.
No,
Okay.
So eventually they all should be there.
Oh yeah.
And
Eventually they should.
They're not
Yeah.
remakes. It's a reboot. It's not the same story as the original
Right.
Modern Warfare 3.
Remake, reboot.
Because they did remake Modern Warfare 1 and 2, the originals stories. They did remaster them and re-release them.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with, the other 8 games called Modern Warfare.
Yeah. But so you then have access to the reboot of 3, but you don't have access to 1 and 2. So you're kind of, if you've never played, if you're only going to be playing Call of Duty through Game Pass, you are missing out on 2 whole games of campaign on top of whatever Warzone shit is, involved with all that. And then you're then going to hop into Black Ops 6, which is not even like the same lore universe as Modern Warfare, with zero context to the other games. Because I've seen the trailers, like Woods is in it, which is a character from the other older Black Ops games. So you're missing actual story content from all the other ones, except for 4 didn't have a story mode, I believe, or 5, one of those two.
5 is technically not numbered. It's cold.
Yeah, wasn't it? I think it was 4 that.
4 is the one that didn't have a story.
Yeah.
It's not numbered, but we're still calling this Black Ops 6.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
At least somehow Halo did it better. But yeah, no. So you're having there's no connectivity with this. Like, once again, you're getting, if you're just looking at value and you're just playing multiplayer, great. You're getting 2 great Call of Duty games within a 6-month window of each other, and that's going to keep you occupied for a while. And on Game Pass, day 1 for Black Ops 6, that's great. Awesome. if you're in it for, someone like me or Crusader who actually enjoys the campaigns or, plays it for the campaigns and then potentially maybe a little bit of multiplayer, probably zombies or whatever, there's no, you are literally throwing people in at the end of 2 different storyline stories. Like, you're literally giving them the last chapter or most recent chapter of 2 completely different stories with right back to back with no way to access the beginnings of those stories in the same medium without having them to pay for the Call of Duties, and that just makes no sense to me. And that's where my problem lies. On top of soon TM, why are we not getting an actual full-on date for this? Like this, you would think something this big this soon would have an actual date connected to it to get people to prepare or whatnot. And is it going to be the next month's grouping or whatnot? I feel like the fact that there's any ambiguity about this and that there's any like doubt that this could not, there's a fact that this could potentially not happen is not good, because now all these rumors that people get hyped and doesn't happen because Activision Blizzard soon TM is eternal, and then you got people upset, and then oh, Xbox lied to us. Oh, Activision Blizzard deal fell through again, and now Xbox is suffering, and we get through that whole debacle and issue. So I've said this. I've said this again and again and again on these podcasts. I want to see the substance. I want to see results, and we are still it's rumors and speculations until we get that, get those results, get that meat that we've been wanting, that will make Game Pass worth it. It will make it worth it, that those $20 worth it to upgrade to the highest tier to get all the content, because Game Pass is giving you great value. It's giving great value now in terms of the sheer scale of everything. It's giving amazing value now. There's no doubt. I'm not, bashing Game Pass. I'm not saying, unsubscribe. It's giving great value. But right now in the gaming news media, that is the issue right now. Is it is not giving a substance that are making people think it's worth it, because there are a lot of people who don't have that much time on their hands, and so they want to play. They're paying this subscription to play what is the great current day one AAA exclusive title, or not even exclusive, but AAA title that Xbox Game Pass is giving us. And right now we have Black Ops 6 on the docket for October, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
I believe
okay,
so.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, so yeah, and for October. And so until we get confirmed that, Modern Warfare 3 reboot is going to be in the upcoming 30 days, soon TM, we're still in this drought of, of content that is going to give, show the people and give people the purchase security, is the best thing I can think of yes, I'm not regretting making this purchase of a subscription of $20 a month now, because I am getting a $70 game every month or every other month, and I am still I'm paying, or even every 3 months. We are not even getting every 3 months, and that's an issue, because people are paying $60 and they're not getting a $70 game every 3 months or so. And that's just showing that the console's dry on content. We need that. We need that, this drought to end. And yes, it's coming. It's coming, but soon TM. And that's my TED Talk. That's my rant. But yeah, no, this is I guess this is Spicy Dots moment, because this has been getting hectic, and the soon TM is driving me up a frickin' wall. So I cannot wait to see I can't wait to see Black Ops 6 hit. I can't wait to see the Gears of War game hit. I can't wait to just see this upcoming year give us some good titles. I just don't want to have that happen and then we have to wait till next winter season to get more good titles, but that seems to be the gaming economy we're in now. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that, we get that soon. TM is just soon. So
I mean, I'm pretty confident myself, Dots. It's just when, like, again, like, within, a month, maybe a little more. Again, but depending on when these Activision games drop, like, I hope they communicate to that soon. I don't know, we could see a flood of content really, really soon, right? Just with these, some of these older titles. And more, like, and some more recent, too. But, I don't know, I think the next couple of months are going to be something really good. They just need to sustain it going into the new year, personally, I think, anyways. But I certainly see your points, and well said. Let's see, Grimes, I'll head over to you next. Again, what do you think about these, what we've been hearing about, Modern Warfare 3 making its way to Game Pass?
Sure, I mean, I'll keep it short. And, like, I mean, we discussed this last week to length. So, it's about time we see some of the Activision catalog. You can't be increasing the subscription price and include just two Activision games all year. People would be pissed, and that's 101 of how to lose subscribers. It would be nice if we got a Call of Duty game dropped onto Game Pass once a week for a month or so before the cutoff, which I would say should be first week of September before, so we gave some breathing room in between the old games and Modern Warfare 6. Or not Modern Warfare, whatever the next Call of Duty game is. What was that? Is it Black Ops or Modern Warfare?
Modern Warfare 3.
No, the new one. The new one in October.
Oh, sorry, October, that's Black Ops.
Yeah, okay. So there should be some breathing room between the older Call of Duty games and the new ones. So I would say the cutoff should be September for when we stop getting Call of Duty games for a while. And like I've mentioned this before, I haven't played a Call of Duty game in well over a decade. Not because I don't like the games, but because I needed a break from the same release every single year, since they don't really change that much, really. It's just you slap a story mode, a new story, but it's the same multiplayer pretty much. Like same thing with FIFA. I used to be a massive FIFA player. I would buy every other year from FIFA 97. I even have a special edition for the English Premier League FIFA for the PlayStation 1, but I got burnt out and haven't bought a FIFA game since 2017. So when the Xbox One came out, I wanted to try something new in Battlefield 1. I just wanted to take a break from Call of Duty. But once we start getting Call of Duty games onto Game Pass, I'm definitely going to play the campaigns and maybe some of the multiplayer. Just I feel like since the Xbox One, I've slightly moved away from playing online games. The only game I've played online really it's Halo Infinite, but I don't really play online anymore. But maybe when the new Call of Duty comes out, I'll give it a try. I mean, I used to be back in my youth, back during the 360 days, I was such a nuisance. I was one of those shitty camper type of players on Call of Duty. People, I'm sure you guys would probably hate me. I was absolutely terrible, and just like wait for people to to come by. But as I grew older, I started playing Call of Duty like as you should. But I just feel like we need to be patient. I'm sure we're gonna start getting those games dropped very soon, probably in the next few weeks. And then like I mentioned last week, I just want some of the really old Activision Sierra catalogs to come to Game Pass as well. Give me some of that Sierra entertainment into my veins. Just love me some nostalgia. And then of course I want the Tony Hawk game to drop onto Game Pass. Spyro, I've never played Spyro. And I'm sure those rumors are true. I mean, Windows Central has been very good at reporting all that information, and so I believe them that some of those games are imminent, and then we're gonna be happy campers again. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not really much more to say since we discussed it last week, but yeah.
I mean, again, I would just say it's just interesting that we keep hearing, like, again, last week we had, there's like a flurry of it, and then we're hearing about, Modern Warfare, the latest one, will be getting soon too. So,
Yeah.
just, I don't know, very telling, very telling. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I was just gonna say I don't really know much about. I haven't followed Call of Duty in so long that I know nothing about it. But I've always enjoyed the story mode they provided. So I'll definitely play whatever game they drop onto Game Pass. I'll just play the story mode, and have fun. I'll always remember that airport mission back in the old Modern
No
Warfare.
Russian.
Yeah. What was that? Modern Warfare 1 or Modern
2?
2.
Yeah, 2.
It was the third mission in the campaign, I believe.
It's such an iconic mission, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really set the stage for again, Modern Warfare 2 and 3 too, because things really escalate in 3.
Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Someone else can speak.
All right, I will go to Crusader and then GeneralMLD. Crusader, just handing over the mic to you here on this one. Again, I know we covered it a bit last week, but again, Modern Warfare 3, I mean, that's pretty significant. I mean, that's the one that just released not too long ago.
It is, and they really had two paths with Call of Duty. I figured the smarter one was put on the Black Ops games and get caught up on Black Ops. The other route is kind of go backwards with them a little bit and put Modern Warfare 3 on because it is the most monetizable one right now. It is the active Call of Duty, so putting it on the service and getting people exposed to the game and trying to push more MTX and stuff like that, that makes sense. That being said, I really hope if they drop Modern Warfare 3, they drop Modern Warfare 2 and 1, as Dot said, because I don't really want to play the multiplayer. Like, I'll probably hop in and play a few matches, but I haven't played any Call of Duty campaign since Ghost. Like, I am actually the target audience for getting new players back into Call of Duty with Game Pass, as small of a target audience as that is. And
that was the last campaign I played too, so I'm in literally the same boat as you.
So, I'm not going to hop on Modern Warfare 3 without playing the campaigns of 1 and 2. Does that make sense? I don't want to start in media res. I want to start at the beginning of the story that they were telling. So I really hope that we get the other Modern Warfares faster than not alongside of it, because I'm just not probably going to install it and maybe play some rounds of multiplayer, but not touch the campaign. I mean, I've heard this one doesn't have a very good campaign to begin with, but not touch the campaign until the other 2 Modern Warfare games come. Which is why, like I said last week, I was a little disappointed to hear that it's going to be a bit more piecemeal than, or I should say, a lot more piecemeal than Bethesda. I understand doing it more piecemeal than Bethesda, but I was hoping they'd kind of bunch like IPs kind of together, or like sub IPs within Call of Duty, and we'd get like the Modern Warfare drop, the Black Ops drop, the like miscellaneous ones like Infinite Warfare and Vanguard and Advanced Warfare and stuff like that. I thought we'd get kind of just like mini drops, and so I hope that if Modern Warfare 3 is coming, Modern Warfare 1 and 2 would be coming close to it. Now, can anyone confirm to me, what was the first game to use Call of Duty HQ? Was that Modern Warfare 2? We have any Call of Duty gamers even on this panel?
It's been a while, to be honest.
Remind me what Call of Duty HQ even is.
So, Call of Duty HQ is kind of Halo MCC, but instead of it being remasters, it's like from the ground up. And so, you can, if you have multiple modern Call of Duties installed, while they take up really large file sizes, it's drastically reduced the more components you have installed, because they all share physics assets and visual assets and stuff like that. So I know when Black Ops 6 launches, the expected file size of the entire Call of Duty HQ is expected to be 300 gigs. But I know that includes Modern Warfare 3. I know that includes Warzone 2. And I know that's going to include Black Ops 6. What I'm not sure is if it includes Modern Warfare 2 or not. And so my hope is like, if it's the Call of Duty 2 or the Call of Duty HQ coming to Game Pass, then maybe we'll also see Modern Warfare 2 at the same time. But like, yeah, I really want to see.
Yeah,
like,
I'm looking at it now. It's Modern Warfare 2 and up.
Modern Warfare 2 and up. Okay, because like they all share assets. They all share their assets into Warzone. Which is going to continue moving forward with Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6 is not going to share cosmetics with Modern Warfare 2 or 3, but it is going to share cosmetics with, like, its cosmetics and stuff are going to go to Warzone, so you can use everything there, which is a really cool concept. It's just, like, it's kind of what I thought Halo Infinite was going to be honest with you. I just didn't expect I'd see it happen first in Call of Duty. That they all kind of, that like, if you want to have, you could piecemeal it, and by piecemealing it, but you can A, get the games out faster because they're all sharing the same core kind of engine assets, and B, they can reduce their file size by sharing just game assets. So I hope that if Modern Warfare 3 is coming, it's kind of the entire Call of Duty HQ is coming. So we would get Modern Warfare 2 as well. But like I said, I really want, like Modern Warfare 3 coming to Game Pass does something for me. Like, it's the start of Activision Blizzard games, which is exciting. Like, the real start. Diablo does not count as a real start. It was a false start back in March. But that's exciting to see them kind of start. But like, I don't want to. It's the same problem that PlayStation has porting their games to PC, when like you're porting Uncharted 4 to PC, but you don't have 1 through 3. You're putting God of War on PC, but you don't have like the games that came before it. That's not quite as bad, but like, it's like, I don't want to dive into a game single player, at least, that I didn't play the games that it's a sequel to, right? So like, there is a little bit of a, okay, this is awesome, but it's still a little bit more waiting for me. So good to see, just a little slow and frustrating.
All right.
And again, it's rumor, right? Because like, they could be doing the Modern Warfare drop, and the only thing we got was Modern Warfare 3, because that's the most important one, because the active multiplayer, right? And like, that's one of the things with this is a leak, that it was supposed to come with the announcement of the price increase. And again, if they had actually gotten to announce the price increase the way they wanted to, instead of the way they accidentally did, maybe it would have gone over a little bit better because there was something to be happy about at the same time. I suspect that the announcement will come on Tuesday with July Drop 2, the announcement for July Drop 2. I suspect that they just moved it. But it would be really exciting to kind of see the Modern Warfare games come to Game Pass, even if it's just the new 3 Modern Warfare games. We don't get the old ones till later, right? That would be exciting to see.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, Crusader, for sure, and certainly well said there. Let's see, who did I say next? GeneralMLD, and then rounding out with Shockley, I believe. MLD, please, yeah. I mean, I know we had already covered last week, there's a slew of rumored titles coming, but damn, Modern Warfare 3, that would be pretty cool. Hopefully it's a start of something.
Oh yeah, of course. At first, I thought it was the opposite of what they should be doing. Like, I personally thought you should put the 360 games on first because you don't want any of the newer games to steal, Black Ops Thunder, right? But now that I'm thinking about it, Modern Warfare 3, I think they want to get the most out of it before the sequel comes out. It has presumably the highest current player base out of all the other Call of Duties, and it's a good entry point for. I think it's a good testing ground for people that haven't played Call of Duty in a while, and myself will be one of those people. The last Call of Duty game I played was Modern Warfare 2, the remake, so it's been a while for me. And I'll give this game a try. The campaign's super short, 3-hour campaign? I hear the campaign isn't the best, but the real meat and potatoes is the multiplayer, and people seem to really like that. That's where I'll basically, put in my time and stop being rusty. So by the time Black Ops 6 comes along, I'll know what I'm doing again. So I think that's the idea here. And I don't think they care so much about story consistency by releasing the third game first before 1 and 2. I think it's to get people into the multiplayer, get acquainted with it, and spend some microtransactions and the like. But I do hope, we do get this is the first of many, and we don't have to wait too much longer after this. If they do, I feel like they'll do some random order. I feel like they might go backwards completely, but I feel like they'll do Modern Warfare 3 here, a 360 game there, an Xbox One game there. It'll be all over the place. My gut's telling me that. Not that that's a bad thing, as long as I space them out so that I can play every campaign properly. Before I move on to the next one. I think they're gonna get to it sooner rather than later at this point. And yeah, we talked about it last week, but even the games like Spyro or Crash, those each of those are trilogies in themselves. So it's good that they're dropping games that give the most bang for buck. So 3 games here, 3 games there. Call of Duty with a multiplayer that essentially never ends because the multiplayer never ends as long as you're playing for it. You're playing it. So I think that's the idea. See, right now we're just we're in that little dry period right now, but we're about to get that shotgun blast to the face in terms of content, both old and new titles. And I think that's just what people are waiting for. We're on that cusp, and people are only concerned with what's happening right now. But I think before we know it, we're gonna start to see that steady little avalanche of games, and this fall will be one to remember. So I'm looking forward to the first steps.
All right, fair enough there, MLD, fair enough. And Eric, why don't you round us out here? Your thoughts on the big possibility of Modern Warfare 3 coming along with the other recently mentioned and rumored Activision titles. I mean, hey, that'd be a nice get to start off the Call of Duty entry into Game Pass, huh?
Yeah, I mean, especially I don't know if the initial price hike. Well, no, they sent out the email, so it's kind of on them. But yeah, I think that would have went over better as well if like Modern Warfare 3 like dropped in the same day. Um, just because initially you didn't even have that rumor going around when we were first seeing those emails. But yeah, that's definitely a start, and it also shows that like, hey, we're not just giving you like titles from quite a few years ago. Like even though we would want to see them in there, like Tony Hawk, that remaster they did. They're actually putting like fresh titles in there. Obviously, you're going to get the ones day one anyway, but um, like they're not, they're not playing around. So because we were thinking that maybe we would get some of the backwards compatible titles, so like some of the older ones will flood in there, and then it'll take a while to get like up to more of these recent Call of Duties. But yeah, it's definitely good to see that. And then also I think Crash, that was the first one that was like rumored, and I guess that might be sooner than what we initially thought. So yeah, just hopefully they start flooding most of those games we've had from Activision in recent memory. I know I bought Insane Trilogy, but I never bought Tony Hawk, but I'd gladly play. I played the shit out of those games back in the day. I just didn't didn't want to spend like the 40 or 50 bucks it was at the time. So um but yeah, I mean that's it's good that it's finally starting because it has been a long time coming. We've been waiting for like, okay, the deal's closed. We get it. We were waiting for these types of games for like Bobby Kotick was saying, he was like, yeah, we're not gonna put our games in Game Pass, but it's good that to see that we're finally okay. We're finally where are they at? Because we've been just trying to figure out like what's taking so long. Even with the Bethesda deal, it didn't take this long to give us a nice batch of them all at once. But yeah, I think this will be big alone since again, like I stated earlier, Call of Duty usually look at the charts, and then the Call of Duty from the previous year is usually not too far from behind it on the chart. So yeah, I think that'll be definitely a big addition, especially during the summer if it's about to drop here imminently. There's a lot of people that like the story of those games that probably like wait and don't get into it day one because they don't really need to if they're not playing like the multiplayer. But so that's definitely going to be a good push. But yeah, we'll definitely see here really in October just what that Call of Duty really as far as just like what it brings to Game Pass, if it brings new subscribers, and then hopefully with all of this continued content that we're getting, like they're gonna have so much content, like they shouldn't have any excuse to just have like a low moment because they own everything. Like as far as drop, you could literally drop a couple older, even 360 Call of Duties in there a couple weeks, and that'd be like a good month because those games are like those are games that are expensive regardless if you buy them physical or digital, since the prices got inflated. Not only from the 360 store, people collecting, but those prices went up on those games the second they became backwards compatible. So, um, and then if they keep that consistent, roll going, they shouldn't really need to probably up the prices because they're going to probably get more consistent subscribers, that not only the subscribers that have like used Game Pass and have just like canceled or stopped and started, they might be able to consistently hold on to them a little bit, or hold on to them more consistently. So then because that's the issue right now, is like them finding that medium of, okay, well, we're kind of growth isn't really going up at the same rate. Well, we need to do the opposite. Now we have to charge more since we're not seeing the growth. So it's kind of that mixed bag. So hopefully this will kick off like a start of consistent content, and then that's just going to help all of us that have invested into Game Pass or invested years into stacking years of Game Pass. So, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to see it. I see a lot of people saying that why are people even that don't even play Call of Duty even making a big deal about it. But I mean, I played a ton of Call of Duty back on the 360. A lot of us did, and a lot of us probably just also kind of dropped off because we may have played a lot of multiplayer and then just don't deal with that anymore. But we're fond of the single player. But again, some of those games, $70, and some of them, you run through it pretty short. It's still a good experience, but maybe I don't want to spend the money on it when I could. And they're annual, so it's not like you get a break in there where it's like, okay, I'll buy it on. You totally buy them on when they hit a sale, but it's so often that like you might miss a few. So it's just with their annual cadence on release. So, but if it's in there in Game Pass, I'll probably run through it, especially some of these recent ones people have liked. So story-wise, like Cold War, and I think this newest one kind of continues on with that. So people definitely gave high remarks on the story. So if it's just in Game Pass thrown at me, then and something I'm already paying for, I'll definitely run through it for sure. But yeah, hopefully get a answer here soon on when that's dropping. So.
Yeah, no, agreed, Eric. Agreed. And I don't know, from the sounds of things, we should be hearing something soon, as was alluded to earlier. Yeah, we'll wait until what the second half of this month has to offer. Hopefully they say something this week. I'm hoping. Let's see. I think I got to everybody here, and yeah, it seems that way. All right, gentlemen. I think that does it for this one. Really good chat tonight, talking about Xbox Game Pass Standard, the newly announced tier, plus some interesting Modern Warfare 3 banter. I mean, hopefully we get to see an announcement of it soon into Game Pass, but that and a few other Activision Blizzard titles. Oh yeah, that would be a nice official announcement for a drop. And to all,
Say one more thing.
yeah, of course you can.
Right before the show started, and I meant to say this during the intro, but right before the show started, Forza Horizon 5 hit 40 million players.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
40 million players have played that game. That is probably the biggest IP that, besides Call of Duty, that and Minecraft, that Microsoft had. Right? Forza Horizon is just so massive, man. I don't like racing games, and even I download Forza Horizon and play it.
It's amazing how much, because that was, that's an offshoot of motorsport, and just like how many people play it is crazy.
Yeah, it's so fun
Mm-hmm.
because it's like that perfect blend of like arcade and like real. Does that make sense? Like it's
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like it in gaming. It's a perfect blend of like feeling like you're playing something goofy and arcadey, but also like very like realistic looking and very pretty and real cars and everything like that. It's massive congratulations to that team.
I mean, I used to play the crap out of the first couple of ones. I'll admit, like, the newer ones I haven't really been as into. I kind of like the style of, like, the first and second one. I kind of hope that they go back to something like that, but I guess that's my tastes. But obviously they're doing something right, as it is doing phenomenal numbers, as you just said, so...
It's interesting that Forza Horizon...
You're pretty far away, Grimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I put my mic away, my bad. I was gonna say, it's interesting that Forza Horizon 4 didn't do that well, and it's in my opinion was a better game because he had all the seasons in the game.
Hit Steam immediately.
Yeah.
4 was only ported later, and I think that and this is something I say with any kind of delayed release on PC, just having a unified release in general where you have one marketing push and like all of your various platforms are all kind of cohesively working together makes the singular game do better on every platform, because you're just doing one giant marketing, everyone's talking about it at the same time. I think that had a large piece to do with it, was the larger Game Pass numbers, the fact that it was like one of the first major titles for the Xbox Series X as a proper like showcase of the console, and it was a day one Xbox on Steam title. Just kind of gave it the perfect storm of stuff for it to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see it doing well, and Forza certainly deserves it. Wonderful, wonderful series, and I hope they continue on making those games. Just give them a little bit of breathing space is all I ask. A little bit of breathing space, but they seem to be doing that. But yeah, again, guys, that seems to do it for this one. I really enjoyed the chat tonight. I mean, I usually do. We have some pretty awesome discussions here. Tonight we talked about, Game Pass Standard Plus. Plus some, interesting Modern Warfare stuff. And to all of you that tuned in tonight, thank you for being a part of things. I always enjoy having you here. If you enjoyed our chat tonight, drop a like, share out the show, and of course, sub to the channel. Love, love, love the new faces that always come by. Next, over to the outros, and I'll start with Dots, the spicy man tonight. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, no, another good Sunday night. You can find me Dots RTS on both Twitter and Xbox, and soon TM.
All right, sounds good. Next, Grimes. Grimes, hey, good stuff tonight, my friend. Where can all these lovely people find you?
Yeah, great Sunday as always, and loved all the opinions. You can find me on Twitter at FakeMayhemOG, and hopefully by next Sunday we've had some Activision drops. We'll see.
I completely agree with that statement, indeed. Next on over to the GeneralMLD. Buddy, hey, you had some really awesome points tonight. Where can everybody follow you at?
Oh yeah, great chat. You guys can find me at MLD Ghost on Twitter X, Gamertag GhostMLD, and here's hoping next week we have some game drops to be excited about.
Oh yeah, totally agree. Again, moving on to Eric Shockley, pal. Hey, again, I thought you had some really good stuff tonight as well. Like the other guys, where can everybody follow you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at ShockNero on Twitter, EZShock on Xbox Live. I think that Forza Horizon hitting that Amazon sticks, that's going to be a good one to stream, because you're going so fast, you're not going to notice the maybe the latency, but hopefully if they get that down, just the bit rate, because you're going so quick. But yeah, it should be a good one. But yeah, have a good night.
Actually, good point. Yeah, I'd be curious on that. And let's see, rounding out the crew, let's see, we got the Crusader. Good stuff as well. Where can everybody find you?
Come follow me on Twitter at Crusader3456, where for the next week or so, you're going to see me talking about 3D platformers, and you're going to see me talking about backwards compatibility stuff. I'm kind of hoping that these new PlayStation backwards compatibility stuff might give Xbox a little kick in the ass to bring the backwards compatibility back, because boy, is it starting to feel like there's something to talk about in that sector of gaming again. It feels great.
You like backwards compatibility? No way.
I could have guessed I liked backwards compatibility.
I would never have thought that. I mean, out of all the people on the panel that, just looking at your social media, I would have never thought that.
But yeah, you're gonna see me pushing a lot for backwards compatibility. Especially like the more you see PlayStation porting PS2 games, the more you're gonna see me going, "Hey Xbox, let's bring some games back." And if you want to see some games come back, you get on Twitter, you talk with me, and we'll get to adding literally every Xbox executive we can find, people. And let's push for this backwards compatibility program to come back again.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. And yeah, guys, of course, I'm Invader. You guys can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming. I know I had a bit of a lull, but I do plan to start making some more content on there, so keep an eye on it. But yeah, great stuff tonight here, and we look forward to seeing you all here on the next one as per usual. Let's see what Monday and on brings us. Later, folks.